Today, it'd be important in a human rights movement to remember individuals. So today I want to talk about a few stories that I know from the human rights movement. Um, in 1988, we did a world tour of 18 countries. We toured the world in honor of the 40th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights. And we had five singers: Bruce Springsteen, Sting, Peter Gabriel, Tracy Chapman, and Youssou N'Dour. And we played on five different continents and all the religions of the earth. And we were celebrating the closing of it in Argentina. People wanted me to close in the United States and be bigger and on television. I wanted to close somewhere that was terribly important to that nation that it be there. And we wanted to oppose what the dirty war had done to Argentina. And we've finished really the whole the whole darn thing. The world tour cost 26 million. We've done well. We paid off all our bills. It was beautifully done and executed by Bill Graham, George Travis, a number of people. But going into the stadium in Argentina where there's 100,000 people waiting for us, we were very happy because the tour had gone well. This was our last one. We'd all be splitting up, and I was in the last bus going in with the mothers of the disappeared whose children had been restored to their grandparents because the Argentina had killed their parents, and the military had stolen the children and started raising them in their homes. But some of those kids have been returned to their grandparents, and they were with us on that bus. And pretty happy but traumatized people from the war, that dirty war. And lo and behold, one young girl was, she's probably 10, maybe 11, something like that. I was behind her and her little brother, who was probably about 6 or 7, exiting the bus. And lo and behold, the policewoman was at the bottom of the step who had stolen her, basically, when her parents were killed and were taken away to give to their grandparents, was waiting at the bottom of the steps. We don't know what, to take her back, to embrace her, I don't know. But the little girl got traumatized and ran down the center of the bus past me and went down to a seat. And and I froze. I really was trying to figure out what was going on quickly. And her little brother, who was probably about 6 or 7, I don't know, he ran down after his sister in the aisle of that bus, took off his little jacket and put it against the window of that policewoman pounding on that wall, or on that, on that outside of that bus. And I dare say that is the human rights movement at its very best. We only have our heart and our clothes and our guts to oppose what government do to us. But in that battle, as simple as that battle is in this story, that's the battle every day of courageous people around the world who have to oppose government who want to abuse them. And these people who are our heroes have to be remembered. There's one in El Salvador. The army was sweeping up the valley, coming up, burning all the houses, raping the women, killing all the men who they thought were rebels. And the mother said to her daughter, "I don't know which side of the plastic you should be on, one side or the other, but one of us is probably going to get hurt." Um, and so they decided which way to do that. Anyway, the child ended up on the outside of the plastic, which was blowing in the wind. And the soldier came by and struck her with a machete. And as they thought they'd killed her, and as the soldiers were exiting that little village, they heard this little voice singing a freedom song. And they went back and they found out it was that little girl, and they struck her again. And that happened twice. They had to come back twice because that little girl kept singing. And my guess is that's one of the great freedom songs of all time by one of the bravest people that ever lived. So in the human rights movement, you always have these people at this local level that can never be forgotten, who we in the human rights movement live off of these people. We live off their guts, their determination. Camus used to say there's a difference between those who receive the lash and those that count the lash. And there has to be a contract between the free who help the unfree. And that's what we're called on in this world of ours, to understand when you have freedom, it isn't just a gift to you, it's a gift to you for the common good. And that common good has to be given back to that sense of freedom, that you're so damn lucky in the world to be free, that you have to essentially have a contract with the unfree to help them become free as well. And I like remembering in the human rights movement these local folks who just, we never know their name, but their heroism saves us all. Thanks.
I'm here.